going to give 3 little sound bites in terms of some of the things that we support our brands with. So one is around mystery shopping, actually going into the world of your consumer and experiencing your brand for yourself. Go and buy something online or get one of your friends to buy it and compare it to some of the other brands that you're working with. Were you delighted? Did the courier give you all the text messages and emails that you were expecting? It's a simple thing to do, but you might actually pick up something along that journey. The other thing we do coming into Q4 is actually stress test with our clients the end-to-end process. It's a big surge in activity that happens around that Black Friday, Cyber Monday period. We work with our brands to simulate stress tests throughout the year so that we go into that period with a level of confidence that all those manual processes and systems are going to hold up throughout that period. And the last point is making sure that you're upholding that proposition. The absolute worst thing is a consumer comes onto your website, they buy something, and then you have to contact them because it's out of stock. It's a pretty poor experience. So we work really hard with our brands to maintain that inventory accuracy and count stock throughout the year to make sure that we're on top of it.
Creating a community is about 3 things, right? Creating that space. The second thing is generally allocating the time and the resources. The community is not just going to happen. And then the third thing is that control, which is, especially for luxe brands, extremely difficult because when you think of a luxury brand, what you want to create is a sense of exclusivity. And community is kind of the opposite of this, right? It's a sense of togetherness. But I think for legacy brand, it's still very top down. There is this kind of really push and pull that is really hard to get right.
Consumer experience, that consumers want to be able to shop in lots of different places. This is where the market is. So actually for investors, when they're looking at opportunities, it's not just being where your customer is. When you're thinking about embedding valuable strategies, it's about being in all the places your customer can be.
Stores now have to do far more than they ever used to do. So when we looked at store investments pre-COVID, 5 years ago, we would say is 4-wall contribution. They have to make profit, and that's their core goal. Now they have a minimum of 3 goals that we appraise them on. So still 4-wall profit, customer acquisition, so are they acquiring new customers to our brand? And then the third is as a brand beacon, and that is both our brand, SpaceNK, but also the brands that we have. So are they going to do a job for the brands that we want to work with?
I do think TikTok is all about culture, content, and community, and I think it will remain about culture, content, and community. Therefore, instead of trying to make it a conversion channel, I think you should invest in creative, which is actually differentiating, and invest in community. And then you're going to make it work. And then the cash is going to come.
I just don't think there's a place for it in terms of linking really back to what we were saying, which is retention is key. So what you're doing is handing over all the data to a third party where they can connect to that customer and they can market to the customer, and you've got a diminished margin of the product that you just sold through their platform. So what's the downstream value of that to you? And unless you can answer that question, I would really err against it. We have a term in our business and we call it vanity revenue. So this is revenue that you can get once and you can never repeat. So in a year, when you have to anniversary that TikTok campaign that made 2 million, how are you going to do it? You're just going to have this big spike that you can't comp.
We're seeing actually some of these savvy businesses who just start on TikTok. It's an opportunity, barriers are low, and they build a community there, the community trusts them, and they sell there. Is the era of mega deals over? I don't know. What we're seeing is a big shift in valuation expectations between you, investment company, or the person who's looking for capital or selling your business, and investors who are giving capital, or even buyers of businesses. It's a very big gap that has arisen around value. And what this means is that, look, large businesses are always more valuable than smaller businesses, but they're actually looking at how you're going to scale your business. So bringing this back to the topic today, Omnichannel, if you're able to demonstrate that Omnichannel presence and doing it successfully in a profitable way, then it really does increase your perception and attractiveness to investors.
So how do we distill expertise in a way that is just immediately visible? And so that's been a big challenge we've been looking at the last year, and there's a few ways we think about it. I think the first is range curation, because if you're not clear on what your range is, and that if there's an expert behind the brand, he really needs to use and believe in every product. And if he's not clear on it, then the customer's not going to be. And so that's the first way we do it. how do we have that iconic hero SKU that is the thing that people with a real low attention span is going to get our brand from? And then how do we have a range architecture that makes sense? The second big one for us, and I think we're still on the journey, is the packaging. It's so easy to use consumer buzzwords, and as someone who knew nothing about hair and was not in the beauty industry, coming in and trying to learn what a serum was versus I didn't have a clue. And so actually going through our packaging and going, is this really clear what it does? Or are we talking hairdresser? Was a really valuable way to look at it. I think it's an old saying, and I would get the saying a bit wrong, but sort of true intelligence is making something really complex simple.